The Barons' War in the 13th century was a defining moment in English history, a conflict born out of a struggle for power and justice. It pitted the nobility against the monarchy, with the future of England hanging in the balance. This video will explore the causes of the war, the key battles of Lewes and Evesham, the capture and release of Prince Edward, and the ultimate resolution of the conflict. The roots of the Barons' War can be traced back to the reign of King Henry III. His heavy taxation, favouritism towards foreign nobles, and failure to uphold the provisions of Oxford, which were meant to limit his power, led to growing discontent among the English barons. This unrest eventually boiled over into open rebellion, with Simon de Montfort, Earl of Leicester, emerging as the leader of the opposition. On May 14, 1264, the forces of the barons, led by Simon de Montfort, faced off against the royal army at the Battle of Lewes. The barons' army, significantly outnumbered, wore white crosses on their tunics as a symbol of their godly cause. Despite their smaller numbers, they fought with determination, driven by the belief that they were fighting for justice and reform. The battle was fiercely contested, but the barons managed to outflank the royal forces, leading to a decisive victory. King Henry III and his son Prince Edward were captured, effectively placing the power of the kingdom in Simon de Montfort's hands. Following the Battle of Lewes, Prince Edward was taken as a prisoner, a significant blow to the royalist cause. However, Edward was not a man to be easily contained. His capture marked a turning point as he began to plot his escape. With the assistance of Gilbert de Clare, a baron who had switched allegiance, Edward managed to escape captivity. This bold move allowed him to rally the royalist forces and prepare for a counterattack. Despite his initial successes, Simon de Montfort's hold on power began to weaken. His attempts to govern were met with increasing resistance, even from his former allies. The barons who had once supported him grew wary of his dominance, and many began to desert his cause. This loss of support would prove critical as the royalists prepared for a final confrontation. On August 4, 1265, the two armies met once more, this time at Evesham. The royalist forces, led by Prince Edward, wore red crosses on their tunics, a direct response to the white crosses worn by the barons at Lewes. This was the first time English soldiers wore what would later become the symbol of St. George's Cross. The Battle of Evesham was a brutal and one-sided affair. Prince Edward's forces, now bolstered by disillusioned barons, overwhelmed Simon de Montfort's army. De Montfort himself fought valiantly, but was eventually surrounded and killed. His body was mutilated, a grim reflection of the animosity that had fueled the conflict. After the battle, Simon de Montfort's remains were taken to Evesham Abbey, where he was buried. Despite his defeat, de Montfort's legacy endured. He was revered by many as a martyr for the cause of justice and reform, and his grave became a site of pilgrimage. In the years that followed, he was venerated as an unofficial saint by those who had supported his cause. With the death of Simon de Montfort, the Barons' War effectively came to an end, but resistance continued in isolated pockets. The conflict was finally resolved with the Doctrine of Kenilworth in 1267, which offered a compromise. The rebellious barons were allowed to buy back their lands in exchange for their submission, marking the end of the resistance. The Barons' War was a pivotal moment in English history, a clash of ideals that set the stage for future struggles between the monarchy and the nobility. It also saw the first use of what would become St. George's Cross, a symbol of England's enduring identity. While the conflict ended in bloodshed, its legacy lived on, influencing the development of English governance for centuries to come. Thank you for watching. We hope you have enjoyed this video. Please like, share and subscribe for more history content.